Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, guys, I'm going to bring you kind of a long video in this one. So I'm actually going to slide over a bit. There we go. But basically, guys, in today's video, I'm going to be bringing you, this is a long video. I'm going to be doing a dual review of AEW Dynamite as well as NXT on January 8th, 2019 or 2020. Now, quickly, I do want to mention, guys, that sometimes I will look over on my computer like this. It's just because I have my whole script up on here. And basically, that's how I know, what to say and that kind of stuff. So let's just move straight into it. So first of all, we're going to start with AEW. So to kick off AEW Dynamite, we did have Jon Moxley giving his response on if he will join the Inner Circle, which contains Chris Jericho, former WWE champion, Sammy Guevara, and then Jake Hager, who is formerly Jack Swagger in the WWE. I just want to kind of tie in some WWE references for you guys. That way, if you don't know what AEW is, you can get it. But essentially, Jon Moxley basically had a large sum of money dumped onto his front lawn in a dump truck, and he had a leather jacket on. He came out and he basically mentioned he was building up to the fact that he did not want to join the Inner Circle, but he ended up pulling a swerve on the fans saying that he would join. And he ripped off his leather jacket to reveal a Inner Circle t-shirt. And Jericho, Guevara, and also Hager were very, very excited, and they celebrated, and Jon Moxley told Hager and Guevara to get the bubbly and we'll pop it open. And they made the mistake, though, of leaving Jericho and Moxley in the ring, which at that point, Moxley did reveal that it was all a joke, and he basically said that the only thing he wants is Chris Jericho's title. Now, he was promised a 4GT last week, and that's what he said he wanted, but really he wants Jericho's title, and he hit the Partagon shift on him. And then Sammy Guevara attempted to come out for the save, but he ended up eating a Partagon shift as well, which, by the way, is Jon Moxley's finishing move. And then Moxley retreated through the crowd. So what do I think? I think this was a really good promo. I love Jon Moxley. I love him being reinvigorated. I love the Inner Circle. I love to see Jack Swagger having a job and being consistently on TV. I love that, and that's really good. So the next match is going to be Kenny Omega and also Adam Hangman Page taking on the Private Party. Now, basically, Omega and Hangman did work together well through the match, but they did bicker a little bit. And then after the match, Pac, also known as Neville in WWE, ended up having the Brutalizer, his submission move, locked in on Michael Nakasawa. And he later demanded a match against Omega in the coming weeks, which Omega then went backstage as Hangman waved him off, and he celebrated by drinking a beer with the crowd. So what do I think? I really like Pac, man. I really do. I love the fact that he actually has a consistent role on TV now. Some of these guys were in WWE, and they weren't really getting much screen time. Now they're in AEW, though, and they're doing really well. Like Pac, like Jake Hager, Jon Moxley. These guys are getting consistent time, and I love it, man. Really, really good. And, a decent start to the show. Not too bad. Moving on, then, we did have the Women's Championship match. Riho, the AEW Women's Champion, did end up retaining against Chris Statlander with a little bit of help. So, essentially, halfway through the match, I'd say, Nightmare Presence ended up coming out. The Nightmare Collective, ended up coming out, which consisted of, let's see, who was it? I know it was Melanie. It consisted of Melanie Cruz, Awesome Kong, who is also Karma in the WWE, if you guys did remember that back in 2012, 2013. She was in the WWE. You had Awesome Kong, aka Karma, and then you also have Brandi Rhodes, who is the wife of Cody Rhodes, who was originally Cody Rhodes in WWE as well as Stardust. So anyway, moving on though, the Nightmare Collective ended up attacking Riho, and then Statlander retaliated, which led to Brandi Rhodes coming down the ramp, and when it looked like Statlander was about to lay out Brandi Rhodes, guess who comes up behind? But deathmatch competitor Dr. Luther ended up coming out and held Statlander's fist back, and then Awesome Kong decked her with a clothesline. And basically what happened was Statlander had Riho set up for a devastating move, but Karma or Awesome Kong did trip her, allowing Riho to get the 1, 2, 3 and retain her title. Then after it was all said and done, Awesome Kong ended up going into the ring and attacking Statlander, hitting him with a massive kick to the face. Riho tried to save Chris Statlander, but was met by Melanie Cruz, which prompted which prompted Hikaru Shida, who was sitting next to Britt Baker, who, if you don't know who Britt Baker is, she's actually the life partner of NXT champion Adam Cole. So I just have to mention that real quick. But Shida ended up coming into the ring and ended up saving Statlander as well as Riho, and they chased off the Nightmare Collective. So the next match is going to be, or actually what I thought of this, I thought it was pretty good. I thought the debut with Dr. Luther was interesting, and it kind of made me just kind of embrace AEW. And it's awesome to see also as well Awesome Kong back in a prominent wrestling company. I really like that. Moving on, we do have Sammy Guevara defeating Christopher Daniels with ease. So essentially, I'd say halfway through the match, Pentagon ended up coming out and he told Christopher Daniels to perform an Arabian moonsault, a maneuver which had sidelined Christopher Daniels after he slipped on the rope and hit the back of his head on the ring mat, and then that ended up getting a win for Sammy Guevara after he kicked, I believe he kicked Christopher Daniels right in the face. And then as the show is about to go to commercial, all of a sudden we hear the music of the Dark Order led by Evil Uno. He comes down, and then he tells Christopher Daniels that he will be able to rebuild him and that the AEW fans do not deserve him for all his work that he puts in. And then he asked Christopher Daniels to join the Dark Order, which was met with a throw of the mask to the ground. And then that prompted the rest of the Dark Order to attack Christopher Daniels. But then out comes his stablemates of SoCal Uncensored, Scorpio Sky, and Frankie Kazarian, as well as the Young Bucks, and they took out the Dark Order and basically laid waste and chased them off. So that was it. Overall, I actually really like the Dark Order, man. I'm not gonna lie, I actually really like them. I also like Christopher Daniels. It's just crazy that he's still going. And I also really like Sammy Guevara. He's really embraced his heel character. I really like his work, and I think he'll be a future world champion. He is just that damn good. He just has to keep up what he's doing. Moving on, here we had Cody and Dustin Rhodes here taking on the Lucha Brothers. And Cody Rhodes, basically right now, he was more focused on MJF and the demands that he made last week. And the demands that he made last week on Cody Rhodes, which we will talk about him later. But Cody Rhodes ended up laying out Cody Rhodes ended up laying out Rey Fenix with the final reckoning, and he was later questioned by a reporter on MJF's demands. And Arn Anderson, who actually is his coach, by the way, I just want to let you guys know, Dustin Rhodes is actually Goldust. I just want to let you guys know that right now. If you guys are not fans of AEW, Dustin Rhodes is Goldust, and that's pretty much it. And then also, you do have none other than Arn Anderson, who is his head coach. Arn Anderson, obviously, former Four Horsemen, and he's a WWE Hall of Famer, very well respected among the wrestling community and whatnot. So anyway, he said that he is actually shocked that MJF can make those demands and didn't think he had the power to, and he would talk to Cody about it and that they would get back to it next week, which kind of resembled what Jon Moxley did with the Inner Circle in that week. Overall, I think the match, I didn't really watch the match, but it was decent. And then also, I like the fact that Arn Anderson is with Cody Rhodes and that Cody has reinvented himself. I really like that. And even if he's not in the main event scene, still going to be interesting to see what happens. And also, the fact that Dustin Rhodes is still going at a very high level at this age is just phenomenal to me. He has defied Father Time. That is mad respect to Dustin Rhodes. Moving on now, we did have a promo cut by MJF, and a star does return here. So MJF cut a promo, basically counting to 10 and waiting for Cody to come out and face him like a man. And when Cody did not come out at the count of 10, MJF called him a little bitch. And then all of a sudden, we hear DDP's music. That's like former WCW champion DDP. He ends up coming out and he basically insults MJF, who by the way was live tweeting during this. Like, that's actually really funny. So essentially, I actually really like MJF, by the way. I love his heel character. Anyway, I don't know, I just have a thing for heels. Anyway, though, MJF said he is not looking for a fight with DDP, and instead he'll get one from Butcher and Blade, who is a tag team, and DDP ended up grabbing MJF by the neck and pushing him up against the ropes. And then when Butcher and Blade tried to help out tried to help out MJF. DDP laid them both out with diamond cutters. And as DDP was making his way over to MJF, he was met with the low blow. Luckily, though, I believe, who is it? JT something? Let's see. QT Marshall, as well as Dustin Rhodes, came in for the save. And Cody Rhodes was not present at this, by the way. And that was it. Overall, I really like the return of DDP. I really like it. I like that he's on TV, and I really like that. I also love MJF. I love his heel character and his persona, and also I really like Dustin Rhodes. But I pretty much already mentioned that before, so I'm actually gonna move like right here about. Yeah, I think that's good. Actually, let me make a quick crop to my webcam right quick because some of the far right is still somewhat visible. So let me just fix that. There we go. Okay. We'll make that 25. Okay, good. So, anyway, moving on now to the next thing that we have to go over, which is the main event here. The Jurassic Express defeating the Best Friends, as well as Orange Cassidy. So, this match, I didn't really watch this match, but Jungle Boy, who was a part of the Jungle Express, did actually get his first pinfall win in AEW, so congratulations to him. Hopefully, he has a great career in there. Also, Orange Cassidy, every move he did was met with positive reactions by the crowd. And Jungle Express? No, Jurassic Express is actually going to be facing Chris Jericho, Santana, as well as Ortiz in 2 weeks' time in a tag team match. So overall, I thought the show was decent. I actually really liked it. I really liked the show and whatnot. This was a good show. Now, we're going to move on here. Look at this editing magic real quick. Boom, ladies and gentlemen. So, now we're moving on to WWE NXT. This is going to be the NXT review. This is the second part. This is probably going to be like a 25-minute video maybe. So, basically, the first thing that we had happen on this show was Rhea Ripley ended up starting a domino effect. So, if you don't know, Shayna Baszler held the women's title for, I believe, 233 days, which is the third longest reign in NXT history, only behind Charlotte Flair and Asuka's reign, respectively, of 258 days and Paige's of 273. So Rhea Ripley was reminiscing about her title win over Shayna Baszler on the last episode of NXT for 2019. When Toni Storm does end up coming out, who is facing Kaylee Ray at this Sunday's NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool for the NXT UK Women's Championship. She comes out and she proclaims that she's going to beat Kaylee Ray for the NXT UK Women's title. Then she is going to defeat Rhea Ripley at the Worlds Collide event in a couple of weeks at the Royal Rumble weekend event, and she is going to become a dual champion. Now, then they start a domino effect. So I believe it was Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and Kaylee Ray all came out. And basically, Rhea Ripley mentioned that she is looking for a fight and ended up delivering a massive punch right to the face of Bianca Belair, which started a brief melee. And it was later announced that a 6-woman tag would be formed. It will be Candice LeRae, Toni Storm, and Rhea Ripley taking on Kaylee Ray, Io Shirai, and also Bianca Belair. Now, the winner of this match was the tandem of Ripley, Storm, and also LeRae via pinfall after Ripley ended up pinning Bianca Belair. Now, what happened in the moment up to that? Well, basically, Io Shirai was in the mood for a moonsault, and all of a sudden, Bianca Belair tags herself in, and Io Shirai is very pissed, and she delivers a missile dropkick right to Bianca Belair and storms off. And then moments later, we get a pin by Rhea Ripley. 1, 2, 3, the faces do win, and that's pretty much it. Overall, this was a great showing for the women's division. I'm actually really happy how much wrestling is really embracing the women's division, and I just really like it, man. Overall, it was pretty good, man. It was pretty good. So now we do have the next little thing here. Tommaso Ciampa in an interview package, a pre-show interview package, basically said that Adam Cole, quote, took away his life, aka the NXT Championship, and that he was going to take his life back. Not really too much to dissect from that, but one thing I do have to say though, Tommaso Ciampa, what a character. Like, holy crap. This guy, if he can maintain this in the main roster, he will be a future world champion because he just plays it off so well. I'm so happy he's back from injury. Anyway, moving on here, I actually got to slide back to the middle a little bit so that I'm not like, I don't know, my OCD's kind of getting me here. But anyway, we do have the first round of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic here. We did have 2 matches. The first one was Imperium taking on the Forgotten Sons, and then the next one was going to be actually a really good one we will mention later, Undisputed Era and versus Gallus, I believe, and both of them were tag team champions in their respective divisions of NXT. But anyway, moving on here, we do have this. And Imperium did advance after hitting a European bomb to Wesley Blake, part of the Forgotten Sons. And they do pick up the victory, advancing to the semifinals. And then Matt Riddle is actually on the actually is in a post-match interview. Post-match, Matt Riddle does an interview, and he basically mentions that the reason why him and Pete Dunne, which by the way is a great pairing, the reason why they're together is because Riddle's a bro and Pete is a bruiserweight, so why not? It's a great idea. Why not? Yeah, pretty good. And overall, what do I think of this? I think Imperium is decent. I think they're very, very good. And I think that's the group with Walter and Alexander Wolf. I really like that, and they are going to advance. And they should have a pretty good semifinal match. And yeah, should be pretty cool. Anyway, moving on here, Austin Theory made his debut in NXT and made his debut in this NXT episode by getting a TKO against Joaquin Wilde, I believe. Very, very short match, and he really showed that he does have talent to make it big, and that was pretty much it. I mean, I really want to watch this guy, though. I want to see where he goes. Very interesting. Moving on here, the next match was going to be the Undisputed Era taking on Gallus, and essentially Gallus is the NXT UK Tag Team Champions, and the Undisputed Era is the NXT Tag Team Champions. So this match was pretty good. This was a very, very good match and very back and forth, and this actually spared Gallus the ending because Adam Cole came in and interfered by delivering a devastating kick right to Wolfgang's face, and while Bobby Fish distracted the referee, and then Fish and O'Reilly hit the high-low for the victory. And this did really good because it actually saved Gallus from losing any momentum that they had because it was kind of a screwy win. But the Undisputed Era do move on, and I believe they're going to be facing Kushida and the mystery partner next week. So that's very, very interesting. Overall, Undisputed Era is amazing. Very, very good match, and I can't wait to see the semifinal match. Anyway, moving on here, we do have Johnny Gargano cutting a scathing promo on none other than Finn Balor. So, Finn Balor has been reinvigorated in NXT. He made his return, and essentially Johnny Gargano was not really that happy about it because on October 23rd of 2019, what happened was Balor, Gargano, and Ciampa were standing side by side against the Undisputed Era when all of the sudden Finn Balor turns on Johnny Gargano, takes him out, and he made him miss 3 months. So then what happens is Gargano does end up coming back and cost Finn Balor the NXT Championship. He was in a match. He won a number 1 contenders match against, I forgot who it was. I know Keith Lee was in that match. I think it was Keith Lee, Matt Riddle, and Dominik Dijakovic, if I'm correct. Oh, by the way, it's amazing. But anyway, moving on here, we do have Gargano basically saying that Finn Balor was the flag bearer of NXT. However, he did sell out to go to the main roster, and he basically said that that Gargano got the same call back in August, but the only difference between Balor and Gargano is that Gargano actually loves NXT, which prompted Finn Balor to come out and call Gargano a rat for costing him the NXT title. And then he, I guess you could say, challenged him to a match at NXT TakeOver Portland, and he threatened that he would not make it there. So what do we think? I think this match is going to be an absolute barn burner between Gargano and Balor. That could be the main event. 2 great wrestlers going at it. Gargano is obviously Johnny Takeover. He can really perform. I mean, I really love it, man. Gargano is amazing. Balor is amazing. I'm so happy he's back where he belongs. This should be very, very good. Moving on here, we do have a shocking return and reunion in this one. So Kushida, I had mentioned, had a mystery partner, and there's been speculation on who it could be. Well, it ended tonight, or the last night's show, as it was revealed that former NJWP or New Japan Pro Wrestling star Alex Shelley is actually going to be the mystery partner for Kushida and is going to be his tag team partner. Now, the two originally paired up in Japan, and they were pretty successful, so this could be very interesting. Overall, I really like this return by Alex Shelley. Kushida has shown great talent. This should be very, very good in their match. Moving on to the main event here, Keith Lee becomes the #1 contender for the NXT North American title. So this match was filled with talent. I believe it was, oh yeah, I think I can get this. So it was Keith Lee, Cameron Grimes, who had just debuted, a month or two ago? Cameron Grimes, Damian Priest, and Dominik Dijakovic all battling it out for the chance to face Roderick Strong for the NXT North American Championship. And Keith Lee ended up hitting the Spirit Bomb on Cameron Grimes. Basically, it was the same story as, I believe it was the NXT TakeOver before TLC, if I'm correct, or Hell in a Cell, whatever it was, when Damian Priest got pinned. It was the same thing. It was for the #1 contender match. It was basically the same thing. What happened? So basically what happened was Grimes, the newcomer, got hit with the Spirit Bomb by Keith Lee and pinned for the 1-2-3. And it was later announced that Keith Lee would face Roderick Strong for the NXT North American title on the January 22nd edition of NXT. So guys, that's going to be it for the review. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, smash a like. Smash 5 likes. Thank you guys so much for watching. But most importantly, stay classy.